triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunay from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. Thank you for joining the program and being with me today as we have it's a very sentimental moment for me as we do this last chapter, this last verse, this last stanza of the book of Genesis. We will come back and we will return, but it's kind of an emotional thing for me. I've been putting this off for weeks because studying Torah has been a very humbling thing for me, as I realize that there are things that I had not noticed has been in the Bible for the last 29 and a half years, for the first 29 and a half years of my walk with the Lord. And so as we get into this particular chapter, and this we close this one out for now before we get back, we're going to talk about legacy learner and leader, trendsetting obedience. What's going to be really cool about this is if you want to interact, you can leave a comment on Facebook. You can leave a comment on Facebook. You can leave a comment on go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. You can go to rumble.com/Battle for Freedom, or you can even go to YouTube and leave a comment. Find Battle for Freedom, and all the links are available to you when you go there. I see Curtis and John over there in the Rumbleverse. Thank you for joining and being part of the program. Let's have some, we're going to have some serious fun as, honestly, no lie, I'm excited for this, and this is going to be a whole lot of fun. So the first verse I want to actually cover when we sit here talking about the whole idea of legacy learner and leader. This is a verse. It's from the part of the Hebrew Shema, not the whole thing, but I want you to see this particular thing as we go from there. And check this out. Instruct generational obedience. It's supposed to be instructing in generational obedience, but it says, these words, which I'm ordering you today, are to be on your heart, and you are to teach them carefully to your children. You are to talk about them when you sit at home, when you are traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. This is towards the end of the life of Moshe, as before the children of Israel go into the promised land. And these are the beautiful words that he gives to them. I want to read it one more time because of the fact that this command isn't directly to pastors, it's to all the people of Israel. You know, this is clergy, laity, and the congregation. It doesn't matter. Don't think that you have to have some kind of special training in order to teach your kids. Long before the public education system ever hit the stage in the late 1800s, people were successfully teaching their children everything. They didn't have to know calculus and all the super things that are out there. And it's so amazing that over 120 years ago, 130 years ago, that we started bringing in and institutionalizing this, an interesting word, institutionalizing our children via public education. And they've over 4 generations of 40, they don't know how to do basic things at home because they know everything else to do. They know how to do everything away from home except the fundamentals. And I think this is what's really key, and this is what has really messed us up. And until we get to the mentality that we want to do better for our children, I think they're going to continue to fail. I'm going to do a few of these right up front so you can check us out and enjoy.
Hey, my name's Trip, and I want to introduce you to Sun Oven. This is our all-American Sun Oven. We've been making these for the last 35 years. We're in 126 different countries all over the world. And basically, we call this a solar crock pot. And it's used to be able to just put your food in there and slow cook it with the power of the sun. You can never burn, scorch, or dry anything out inside the sun oven. Once you put it in, the sun reflects off of these reflectors in through the glass into the inner chamber, and it reaches temperatures of between 300 and 350 degrees. Really, the design is very simple. It's like the greenhouse effect. If you got in your car during the summer and it's really, really hot, that's what's happening inside the sun oven. You know, anything you cook in your regular oven, you can cook inside the sun oven. You can use any of your existing pots and pans. If they'll fit in here, you can cook with them in here, just like you do in your regular oven. It's designed for you to be able to cook your meal out with the power of the sun. And literally, the longer you keep stuff in here, the more juicy and tender it is. So that's a quick introduction to the sun oven. Thank you.
Yes, look into the sun oven. You know, one of the things that can be really powerful about that is you want to talk about a legacy and what it'll do for people and how it'll impact cultures, it'll impact communities, it'll impact homes. Get one while you can. Pick up the sun oven. Let Tripp know that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you to go invest into that. I assure you, you will not be disappointed. Another thing, you know, if you don't have property like I don't have yet, you can look into this other thing.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lee with horizontalhive.com, and I keep bees naturally. And everything starts by catching a local free swarm of honeybees. You put a small beehive like that on the tree in the springtime, and just as birds move into birdhouses, bees will move into a little hive like that. After that, you take the frames, put them in a bigger box. They expand, they collect honey from the flowers and make good honey for you. And it can be as simple as that. No sugar feeding, no chemical treatments. I'm doing it for a living. And there are so many people who do the same thing. You can learn more in the book, Keeping Bees with a Smile. And it's exactly that, doing natural beekeeping and smiling at the same time.
Yes, natural beekeeping and smiling at the same time. What's really cool about that is their honey is delicious. Ooh, it's delicious, it's delicious, delicious. One last one I want to do, and this is for you, for you freaks of Mojo 50 Radio. No, just joking. This is for all the people who get some amazing stuff done by Romika Designs. I love the products that they make, and it makes a huge difference when you want to have knickknacks and other, if you want to have product that really promotes you, look into the following.
It's fascinating. Have you seen it? LaserShopLive.com. It's the YouTube channel for Romika laser engraving and custom designs. We're excited to offer you a 24-hour live stream of our laser shop, along with various videos showcasing our laser work and completed projects. Our state-of-the-art equipment and skilled designers create intricate designs on a variety of materials. With our live stream, you can see firsthand how we create our one-of-a-kind products.
I stumbled upon LaserShopLive.com and was blown away by being able to actually watch them work on their projects. Their laser engraving live stream is fascinating to watch, and I lose all track of time.
Whether you're a business owner, creative professional, or just someone who appreciates unique and personalized items, LaserShopLive.com has something for everyone. And with our YouTube channel, LaserShopLive.com, you can watch our live stream and browse our videos anytime, anywhere. So why wait? Check out Laser Shop Live today and see what all the buzz is about. Visit LaserShopLive.com.
Yes, visit LaserShopLive.com right now. Let them know that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. You can't go wrong. Great product, great stuff, and I assure you, you'll thoroughly enjoy it. So please look into Laser Shop Live. Let them know Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. So let's get back into now what we have here with this amazing topic here. Genesis. Again, I know I've been delaying this, but this is really emotional. We're dealing with the idea of legacy learner and leader, trendsetting obedience. And this is what we're going to get out of Genesis chapter 50. Let's start with verse 1. Yosef fell on his face. Yosef fell on his father's face, wept over him and kissed him. Then Yosef ordered the physicians in his service to embalm his father. So the physician embalmed Isra'el. 40 days were spent at this, and the normal amount of time for embalming. Then the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. Now, what's really amazing about a legacy, Chief and I were talking about this the other day. This is going to be an emotional tribute to Israel. You notice that they're not calling him Yaakov. They're not calling him Jacob. They're calling him Israel. the name that has been given to him by God. That when he's dead, people remember him for how he lived. And the new name that he had, the difference of who he had. Remember, this is the guy who had an obsession with his second wife, practically ignored his first wife and their children, and then obsessed on the children that his favorite wife had. So there were a lot of different things that he did wrong. Chasing after a woman for 20 years, wrong. I mean, so many strikeouts. But he closed his life out in a manner that people could not ignore. And one of the things too, because of his connection to Yosef, who saved Egypt through a horrible famine, I'm certain that the devastation was bigger than people could ever imagine. And so the effects of what he has done, it sent ripples around the world. And so they're grateful for him. And this wasn't Yosef who saved Egypt. This is his father. And so they mourned for him for 70 days. This just says a lot. That when people recognize the source of their blessings, they do not at all, they don't forget. The truly grateful people don't forget. Shout out to Larry over there in the Rumble verse. Thank you for joining and being part of the program. So as we say, it just blows me away that again, that for 70 days, these people, I don't know if any of them even met Israel, while he was still alive, to know how much information he imparted on him. But I just want us to look at, this is very powerful when we look at how this chapter, this book closes, and it's emotional for me. Sorry, I apologize. Probably too emotional, but here we go. Let's move on to the next verse. So now we're making funeral arrangements. Verse 4. When the period of mourning was over, Yosef addressed to the household of Pharaoh, I would like to ask a favor. Tell Pharaoh, my father had me swear an oath. He said, I'm going to die, and you are to bury me in my grave, which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Therefore, I beg you, let me go up and bury my father. I will return. Pharaoh responded, go up and bury your father as he made you swear. Whew. This is the most powerful man on the earth who could be selfish, could be stubborn, could be so like, no, I'm not losing you. You saved, you did so much for this nation, and my country and my nation could never be any better than it is right now because you gave me the foundations of success and one of the most pinnacle nations in the history of the world, past, present, and future. And he's like, I swore to my father, I made an oath. This is what I'm going to do. This is where making promises, it's so key. It's so key to basically say, if I'm going to make a promise, following through. My boss talks to me about it. But the whole idea is, if I promise something, I need to follow through. If we promise something, we need to follow through, because without our follow through, without our follow up on what we said we were going to do, we lose all credibility if we can't produce. If we cannot do it. So it's not just in the regular world. It's in the world of as a spouse, as a child, as a family member, as a coworker, as a human individual. If we make promises of what we're supposed to do and we don't follow through, we lack any credibility. And I think the reason why we sometimes miss our targets, and sometimes I think the reason why we miss our promises, is because we have so much activity going on and we think that we can juggle everything and be successful at everything at the same time, rather than just focusing on being successful in just one area. doing our best in that area. And once we establish the consistency and having one of my former bosses, he shared some really good books with me about that as well too. About the whole idea of just the what was it? There was one of those books about the 7 habits of highly effective people. And I think that once we keep up and follow through on what we promise, the people will recognize, I can count on this person to do what they said they would do. And this isn't the only time that Yosef has gone to Pharaoh to ask for leave. You remember he went to go get his father out of the famine and bring him back to Egypt. So there was a relationship here, and with the funeral arrangements, and another thing too about this is now with his father gone, if there was any point in time where Yosef was fixated on his father more than he needed to be on the kingdom, it's Pharaoh's best interest to let his father go so that his best worker can get back to making his kingdom great. Mega, making Egypt great again. Instead of MAGA, we have mega. Oh my goodness, wow. Oh wow. Pray for me, please. Pray for me. So he's making funeral arrangements. Wow, mega. I need help. Yeah. So let's look at verse 7. And this is honored in death. This is I'm not gonna lie to you. This part really, every time I read this passage, this really gets me because of the fact that the what happens here. Just listen. So Yosef went up to bury his father. With him went all Pharaoh's servants, the leaders of his household, and the leaders of the land of Egypt, along with the entire household of Yosef, his brothers, and his father's household, and only their little ones, their flocks, and their cattle did they leave in the land of Goshen. Moreover, there went up with him both chariots and horsemen. It was a very large caravan. Now, again, the idea that the household, that Pharaoh sent his whole household to go with Yosef, it literally shows how we spend so much time fixated in the wrong areas and not building up the right foundation. We have our hands in too many different things, and we just don't understand why is it we can never succeed. But when people have confidence in what we do, when people have confidence that we will follow through, when people have seen our track record of consistency, they show their appreciation. I know my job, they have these things where, if you stand out on doing things and people can consistently rely on you, they'll send you like this a link to this one rewards site just to show their appreciation for how you've contributed to helping their team succeed. And I think that when we get into the habit, and don't do it for looking for the reward, do it because it's our character. I think that's probably the reason why we fail so much, is that we do some great things often, but we often do those great things because we're looking for the initial reward. We're looking for the initial payback on doing something good for nature. I mean, when you think about the way Chief and I talked about this, when we mess up as Christians and the way instead of just following Torah, instead of just following what God's word says, what we do is we get invested into activities like soup kitchens and feeding the poor and clothing and serving in all these different areas, doing a little bit extra for God in ministry to try and basically wipe away the wrong that we done in the dark, in the when no one's looking. And it's like, no. Be obedient. We should be obedient with God, not because of the fact that we're looking for the reward. We want to be with obedient to God because of the fact that we have a relationship with him. It's kind of like even the idea that, even in marriage, parenting, or even being children, it doesn't matter what role we are. See, yes, when we work, we get paid. But when we really work, because it doesn't matter. Now, I'm not just talking about your job. I'm talking about in every aspect of our life, when we really work and we put forth the effort, and people recognize what it is that we're doing, they see that we're invested, not because we're just looking for the financial aspect of it, but there's an emotional, there's a physiological, there's every logical or emotional, old thing that you can imagine. They can see the connection and see how much we've invested into it. And it's not just the financial aspect. It is the aspect because of the fact that by the nature of who we are as humans to be relational, and that we appreciate relationships that we have, God blesses us when we truly show we can love our neighbor as ourselves, instead of, just doing it out of selfish gain. But we're doing it for the glory of God instead of the glory of us. And that speaks volumes on how we impact, and it flows down to affect other people. This idea that I'm still baffled about how many people went to this funeral service. This is just mind-boggling to know that the Lord has done this. I mean, this is just a powerful message. Let's see. Let's go to the next one here. When they arrived at the threshing floor in Atad, beyond the Yarden, they raised a loud and bitter lamentation, mourning for his father 7 days. When the local inhabitants, the Canaanite, saw the mourning on the floor of Atad, they said, "How bitterly the Egyptians are mourning." This is why the place was given the name Avel-Mitzrayim, mourning of Egypt, there beyond the Yarden. See, sometimes we do. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is as I walk away from churchianity, not Christianity, churchianity, and I think of all the emotional stuff, all the play acting I've seen in church. I remember growing up back in New York, and my mom wanted us, we were raised Roman Catholic, but there was a few times where we couldn't make it to the Catholic church, and my dad brought us to the Baptist church in our town. I'm not going to lie to you, it was night and day. Catholic church was nice and quiet and calm. I was able to stare there looking at the statues and fantasize about battles and all these other different things when I was sitting in the pew quietly between doing the motion of the Trinity, standing, kneeling, doing everything that we needed to do during the time that we were in Catholic church. But the Baptist church, the Baptist Costal church, scared the living snot out of me, because it seemed like that church, I felt like I was inside of the Beetlejuice house, where that place was rocking left and right, and every time around 1 o'clock, the same woman ran down the center of the aisle, and she flailing her hands and getting slain in the spirit. I'm not lying. It scared me like there's no tomorrow. And I've been in churches where I've watched the slain in the spirit individuals and the people carrying on, making a mockery of faith, acting like animals, and so much so. I've been in the ones who are less extreme in their performance, but they still get up there and they give their testimonies over and over and over again without a changed lifestyle. That just drove me up the wall when I see this kind of behavior. I mean, again, we talked about this the other day, Chief and I, about the whole idea is that we look, even when Yeshua called out the Pharisees of how they prayed, they would stand up with pride and no humility, bragging about their religiosity. And we see that a lot in churches, that we brag about how much we donate. We brag about how much we serve the community. We brag about whose life we've changed, but it's all about what that church has done and not what the Lord has done. All the energy goes into this church with multiple locations and multiple people and multiple this, multiple that. Again, I'm not against church. But what we have been instituting for the last 2,000 years, it's been a sham. And I've been part of it too. That's the part about it that just hurts me more than anything else, because of the fact that I wasn't obedient. And if we truly be told, if with truth be told, we would truly say that we haven't been obedient as well. We're struggling to be consistent in our walk. We're struggling to be consistent in our faith. I'm telling you, the reckoning is coming for us. The reckoning is coming for us. And we will either leave a legacy that transcends obedience, or we'll leave a legacy that transcends obstinance. And we just have to make that decision of which path do we want to take. Because I'm tired of all the play acting that I've done for far too long. And I'm hoping that you're feeling the same exact way as well too. But this is just so emotional. I mean, you realize this? So there was 40 days of preparing for the embalming. Then there were 70 days that they were mourning. 70 days that the Egyptians mourned the loss of, either they truly appreciated who Joseph was, not Joseph, but Jacob, Israel was, or they just loved Yosef so much and they could feel his grief and pain and they wanted to be there for him. And then we get down to verses 10 through 11. It talks about the whole idea of how they mourned his father for another 7 days, another week, 77 days of mourning. And mind you too, we haven't even talked about how long it took them to get there. We haven't talked about how long it took them to get from Egypt to where they would bury him. And swaths of people that have to go across certain lands. This is not calling Uber. This is not calling Amtrak. This isn't calling Delta. This is calling left foot and right foot and moving to get to this funeral procession. So the way that this has transpired is just awe-inspiring for me, and I'm not going to lie to you. I thank God for just the lessons being learned. I'm not looking for an entourage to follow me at my burial. I'm looking for an entourage that will live for Adonai, for Yahweh, at my burial. You get that? Because I don't need the accolades. All the accolades belong to Adonai and our commitment, your commitment to follow him. Because if I've not set an example, now mind you, maybe I did set an example. It probably could be a decent one that I merit. Well done, good and faithful servant. But if I'm not, Lord, forgive me. Lord, change me. Lord, mold me that I would truly be a vessel for your honor, glory, and praise. Let's go to a break, people. And I'll talk to you amazing people on the flip side. Psalm 1, verse 1. How blessed are those who reject the advice of the wicked, don't stand on the way of sinners, or sit where the scoffers sit. I love this because it's basically saying that the person does not want to associate with wickedness in any way, from hearing, standing near, associating, nor being comfortable enough to rest in his presence. Verse 2 says, their delight is in Adonai's Torah. On his Torah they meditate day and night. In other words, they love the teachings of God, and this is what they think about day and night. They are like trees planted by streams. They bear their fruit in season. Their leaves never wither. Everything they do succeeds. Verse 3 is basically hinting that there's life in them,
And it's not murky, stagnant water that passes by them or fills them. It's flowing, life-giving, clean water. But verse 4 says, not so the wicked who are like chaff driven by the wind. Chaff, it's a substitute, or it looks like, or an imitation of wheat that has no substance and has no value, and it's easily manipulated. For this reason, the wicked won't stand up to the judgment, nor will sinners at the gathering of the righteous. In other words, there is no hope for those who reject the teachings of Adonai, who reject his Torah. They will not be able to stand, even though they think that they're gods. The Lord of creation will humble them. Verse 6, for Adonai watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. In other words, if our goal is to reject Adonai, his teachings, his Torah, his rule, his order, that means that we will suffer the consequences of living in no order and complete chaos, facing his wrath for eternity. Why? Because we rejected his truth. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom and Mojo Fiber Radio. I appreciate every last one of you. We continue this broadcast today as we're finishing Genesis, legacy learner and leader, trendsetting obedience. So we're now dealing with the Israel. Yaakov died last time we spoke, and now we get into the funeral, the mourning and the funeral. And it's what kind of legacy we leave behind. I'm not lying to you. When you sit there and you look at this, there's so much in Genesis that I'm just wondering, the only reason why Christian families and churchianity look so dysfunctional is because we have zero order. We have zero boundaries. We have a zero understanding of what parenting and family and honoring God looks like. And it's really sad because, again, I know a lot of you dismissing me. I don't want to get back to sacrifices and I don't want to get back. You know what? Your obstinance instead of obedience, not obedience to me, obedience to the Lord. 1 Samuel 15:22 says, I desire obedience over sacrifice. I desire obedience over sacrifice. Because I think that a lot of times we approach God with confidence, and uber confidence, like he should be happy that we're here and that we're in his presence. We're a blessing to him, and the world is so much better because I'm here and because of my wit and my participation and what I'm offering society. Something that Chief and I found the other day that just blew in the midst of a conversation about how we approach God and how fakeness happens, because we talked a little bit about Genesis 50, and something we both found. It's just, it completely flattened us. I think it's John 11. Is it John 11 where Lazarus dies and he's buried? He's dead for 4 days. Miriam and Martha sent out people, go get Yeshua, bring him back to save and heal his servant before he dies. He doesn't get there. But two attitudes I want you to understand between those who have a messianic faith and those who have a churchianic faith. Messianic, churchianic. The decision is yours. Because as you continue to rebuke me and others who are trying to get you into Torah, you are more of a churchianic faith than you are a messianic faith. So Lazarus is dead. They're mourning. Yeshua is on the way. Martha realizes, oh, yep, he's here. He's on the way. I got to confront him on what took place here. Read this for yourself, okay? So it turns out Martha runs up to the Lord and says, yo, had you been here, my brother wouldn't have died. What you gonna do about it? Yeah, I'm giving you the Ebonics version, but more likely, that's the modern day version of our attitude towards God when we approach God with disrespect, expecting him to bless us. We're completely ungrateful. And he's like, yeah, I'll take care of it. He wasn't moved. He wasn't rushed. He just like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. But when Miriam found out, she was moved. She got up from the morning and she ran up to the Lord and asked him the same exact question, but there was a difference. And I want you to read this for yourself, okay? But in Genesis 11, Mary approaches the Lord and says, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But there's a part that we miss. She fell on her face. She fell down and worshiped him. She gave him honor. She gave him praise. Before she could say a thing to him, the first thing she did was obediently worship her Lord, her King. That's a huge, huge, huge difference. And Yeshua says, if you love me, if you worship me, keep my commandments. The commandments that we keep saying don't matter anymore because we're in a new covenant. We approach God like, hey, yo, handle your business and bless me, Lord. I don't come to you with any requirements. I don't come to you with any obedience. I'm just making my demands right now. Answer me now. Speak on my time. Clap, clap. Move. When we treat him in churchianity, we treat God like a genie instead of the creator of the universe, the one who controls our eternal destiny. We act like we just said a formula. We said Romans 10. We said the Roman road to salvation, and I'm guaranteed into heaven. There's nothing more for me to do. I've got my golden ticket. I've got my golden ticket. Willy Wonka. No. Two different, and I'm telling you, the spirit of churchianity, the churchianics versus the messianics. The churchianics will approach God. No, I don't have to live right for you. I don't have to live according to your Torah that never died. I don't have to live according to that stuff. I'm just going to go by this grace on top of grace that I've been learning for so long. And I don't have to change my life. I just have to approach you whenever I need something or I want something. Huge difference, folks. And I believe that the life towards the end of Yaakov's life, of Israel's life, reflected more of a Mary spirit than of a Martha spirit. Because a lot of us get very active doing a lot of quote unquote things for God. And you know what we're going to hear when it's all said and done? The most fateful words you'd ever want to hear. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. I never knew you. Yeah, let that sit in for a little bit there. That because how many people have died and we don't even remember who they are or what they've done? How many people have passed away and they're dust. They're dust. They're so insignificant in our memories. They were gone that fast. They don't even matter anymore. I'm not saying set up a legacy so people remember you for it, because again, legacies can be tarnished, or images of one's legacy can be tarnished. But the truth stands the test of time. The truth, the teachings stand the test of time. We may fade away, but his truth, his word stands the test of time. I don't think we fully understand the dynamics of what is being required of us here. Even as we finish up Genesis, I don't think we fully understand the dynamics. But when we look at this thing here, of this last verse 10 through 11, now we get into the celebration of life. That's what it was. It was a celebration of life. Yes, we call it mourning, but I see it as a celebration of life. Because it's not the life that has left. It's the life that's birthing and will continue to live now that I'm no longer here. You get that? We're so busy focusing on the past that we stopped living in the present and for the future. And that's the difference between a churchianic and a messianic. Do as you see fit. But I'm telling you, we are going to be judged. Moving on for those who don't want to hear the truth anymore. Let's look at this. Verse 12. His sons did to him as he ordered them to do. They carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave in the field of Makhpelah, which Avraham had bought, along with the field as a burial place belonging to him from Efron the Hitti by Mamre. Oh, I love this guy. Oh, come on, folks. Come on. This place has I've never appreciated this field more than I do right now. The oaks of Mamre, Makhpelah. This place is so beautiful because this was the place where Abraham's faith was best lived out, when he worshiped the Lord without restraint. That's why Makhpelah, that's why the oaks of Mamre are so beautiful. If we had another child, I think I'd name them Oaks of Mamre because it's such a beautiful place. It's that place that we thought that we truly enjoy. You know, when we get to that honeymoon stage of faith and we just love the Lord with everything. We are sprinkling Jesus dust everywhere. See, that stuff fades. Because again, without the foundations of Torah to understand why we are truly saved, what we were saved from, a lot of that is just emotional stuff. And people burn out from faith. I'm sorry, when you burn out, we never were established in faith. We didn't have a legacy. We did not have a legacy of faith and learning and obedience. We had a very emotional moment. Oh, you can't tell me about my conversion. You can't tell me about. How's our living? You see? Do you get that? I didn't say how's your living. I said how's our living. And if we can't sit there and honest it with truthfulness. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. I never knew you. Then after burying his father, Yosef returned to Egypt, he, his brothers, and all who had gone up with him to bury his father. So, pivoting after death. See, because I think this is the key that happens really. Again, you remember, and like I said earlier, the focus isn't Yosef, the dead one. Remember what Yeshua said to the people when he was calling people to follow him? Oh, Dad, Lord, permit me to go back and bury my father because he died. And what did the Lord say? Let the dead bury the dead, because the living will be following me for my glory. And we don't have time living in the past or dying in the past. So you get that? The dead, because remember, people who are dying, who get to that terminal stage where they're past the point of no return, the Lord calls them dead already. They're like the Walking Dead. Crazy series. And many people in churchianity and the churchianics are the walking dead, and they don't realize it. The Lord said, let the dead bury the dead. because the living pivot after death. I know it took me years to get over losing my mom when I was a senior in high school. Actually, honestly, I dropped out of school 2 days later. I didn't go back to school. I did not finish my senior year. My mom was everything to me. And losing her on December 31st, 1988, at 2100 hours, had literally shaped my life. I became an alcoholic to hide the pain of dealing with the loss of my mother. I became an alcoholic, and it was really bad. I drank people underneath the table. I did everything I could because it took me forever to pivot away from that loss. You know, when my dad died on my birthday 2 years ago, on the morning of my 52nd birthday, yeah, it stung for a second, but I've moved on. Don't think that I've forgotten the people who were responsible for his death, but I've moved on. And I think that many of us right now, we spend too much time mourning those who are dead that we stop living. We mourn the dead, and we just don't know how to move on when there's death. And sometimes it's someone who has died. It could even be the end of a relationship. It could be the end of a friendship. It could be so many different things. We could even be fired from a job, and we sit there mourning for so long rather than getting up and doing what's necessary to provide for ourselves and our families. I think we obsess over death more so than anything else. And I mean, you can see it by the way we react to stars and famous people dying. We obsess over death. But then there are people who live pivoting after death. This is what's really key. And the question is whether or not we want to respond, or do we want to live forward, move forward. Realizing that their father was dead, Yosef's brothers said, Yosef may hate us now and pay us back in full for all the suffering we caused him. So they sent a message to Yosef and said, your father gave this order before he died. Say to Yosef, I beg you now, please forgive your brother's crime and wickedness in doing you harm. So now we beg you, forgive the crime of the servants of the God of your father. Yosef wept when they spoke to him, and his brothers came to him, prostrated themselves before him, and said, "Here we are, your slaves." This is I'm glad we don't know exactly how much time passed when this activity took place, but I want you to understand something. Because their father's dead, the period of mourning is over, and now they're fearful. See, because there's a lot of different things. What I see here is regret, but no remorse. Regret, but no remorse. See, because the thing about it is, Why didn't they just ask him for forgiveness before his father died? We have no documentation of them asking for forgiveness before their father died. So that means that in this whole time, all they've been doing has been bandwagoning and riding the coattails of their brother they tried to kill, or they sold off into slavery. And now they're like, your father gave this order, and we know how much you listen to Dad. Don't hurt them, forgive them. How do we know that's even true? See, because if they had just asked for forgiveness, if they had just confessed their crimes and asked for forgiveness, they never would have needed the word of their father. Or had they done it right, had they asked for forgiveness while their father was still alive, they would have heard directly. Yosef would have heard his father directly say, don't harm your brothers, forgive them. But we don't have an account of that. So all I see right now is regret, but no remorse. Because if they truly were remorseful for their actions, they would have sought forgiveness long before their father perished. They've been in Egypt for a long time. They haven't long gone. And now they're going to turn around and, yo, don't do anything to us. You have every right to. But we're compelling you by your love for your father not to bring us any harm. And he said, don't do it. So we know you're going to follow what Dad says. I see the same mentality in us in churchianity. We come to God with we come to God with regret, but no remorse for our actions. Let me say that again. We come to God with regret, but no remorse for our actions. Because if there truly was remorse, we love him and we keep his commandments. It doesn't get any easier than this, folks. The path has been laid out. The question is whether or not we want to be obedient or do we want to live in disobedience. So Yosef said to them, don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You see, we love this passage. We focus on this passage more than anything else. I think between Genesis chapter 1, 2, and 3 and chapter 50, I think that's all we see when we look at Genesis. It's like, I've read Genesis 1, 2, 3, 50. Yes, I'm done reading that long book. Check this out. This is amazing. It says, you meant to do me harm, but God meant it for good, so that it would come about as it is today, with many people's lives being saved. So don't be afraid. I'll provide for you and your little ones. In this way, he comforted them, speaking kindly to them. And this is where I love this, is because of the fact that this is meekness, not weakness. Yosef has every right to open up a can of whoop butt on these people. And he didn't. The Lord has every right to execute his wrath upon us because of our sins against him. Against him. We may think we're only affecting other people, or we're not hurting anybody, but we're offending God. Meekness, not weakness, is what God put on that cross to die in our stead. Meekness, not weakness, is what descended from heaven, take on human flesh to set the example of how we can live out his instructions. Meekness, not weakness, is what restrains him from annihilating us, to give us an opportunity to yield before we die, to yield to him. Meekness, not weakness. I don't think we understand it yet. but the Lord will waken us up. Yosef continued living in Egypt. He and his father's household. Yosef lived 110 years. Yosef lived to see Ephraim's great-grandchildren and the children of Manasseh, son Makhir. Makhir were born to Yosef's knees. He lived a long and prosperous life so that he could see his posterity. He could see and watch the obedience that his father lived, that he has lived, and he can watch his generations. Listen. The Lord is keeping me around long enough to help you understand. Don't deviate from this path. And sometimes we think we're supposed to be around long enough so we can go do our bucket list of life. No. We get a blessings of obedient, extended life to see our posterity, to warn them. Not spoil them, warn them. That's the thing about it that I can't stand about American culture, is that when grandparents decide that they want to spoil their grandchildren, that is so anti-family. That is so sinful and wicked. I'm going to turn your children into hellions. Oh, you didn't do a bad enough job failing with me that you now want to affect my children? Not that one, sorry. Let me go back to this one here. Oh, I did this wrong. I'm sorry. I got a whole bunch of wrong ones here. Meekness, not weakness. He watches people. Well, Yosef said to his brothers, I'm going to go to 24. I don't have this on here. Forgive me. Yosef said to his brothers, I am dying, but God will surely remember you and bring you up out of this land, in the land which he swore to Avraham, Yitz'chak and Yaakov. Then Yosef took an oath from the sons of Israel. God will surely remember you, and you are to carry my bones up from here. So Yosef died at the age of 110, and they embalmed him and put him in a coffin in Egypt. See, this is what's really powerful about this, is that as he's dying, as this last pillar of patriarchy. Because Isaac was the big pillar, but Yosef, he was the last remembrance before he closes his eyes. The blessings of Egypt. The Lord let him see 110 years, see generations follow after him. And let me see if I have this on here. Yeah, here it goes. This is the bookend of Genesis and the bookend of this message. Proverbs 22:6. Train a child in the way he should go, and even when old, he will not swerve from it. We love this verse. We love train up a child verse, right? We know Proverbs 22:6. We know Proverbs 22:6 all day long, but you know what we don't know? Deuteronomy 6. We don't know the Shema. These words which I'm ordering you today are to be on your heart, and you are to teach them carefully to your children. You are to talk about them when you sit at home, when you are traveling on the road, when you lie down, and when you get up. Train up a child. That's the verse that helps us train up a child. How do I do this, Watson? These words which I'm ordering you today. And I think that this is the legacy you live. When we train up our children, we train up our family so that they know what the truth looks like. They see what wickedness looks like, but they see the glory of God through his word, through Torah, how we've taught them. We've put away the activities of churchianity. Don't raise churchianics, raise messianics. And for far too long, what we have had in the product of Christendom has been a bunch of churchianics and zero messianics. And the proof is in the pudding.